So good morning. Anyway, I wanted to give an update. I received my DSC suspension controller for magnetic ride, and I'm here to tell you that it's the truth. I mean, there's words can't describe it. So basically what it does is it lets you custom tune your suspension. If you want it softer, if you want it stiffer, if you want to set the suspension at a certain speed, it'll do that. It has a launch control feature where you can set it out in seconds or milliseconds. I mean, it's just, it's definitely on point. But after a few days, I got my first controller maybe about 2 months ago, and I think it had a couple of issues or whatever. It was for a C7, which the C7, C8s are supposed to be somewhat compatible for the can, but for some reason mine was not. So I got this new one back maybe a few days ago, and man, I've been tweaking it. Like I can't stop from messing with it. So it lets you custom tailor the magnetic ride. So I say my touring mode is like a Camry mode, so it's still super soft. So you don't have to worry about bumps if you're that type of guy or whatever. But the main reason I got the DSC is just because I felt like with each generation SS1LE, they've softened the suspension like too much to where it's not really that sporty. I mean, I know different people in different states have like potholes and all the other stuff they have to tend to, but here in Florida, roads are pretty soft. But this thing is it's on point. I wish that there is a way that I can actually show you how the suspension feels. I mean, it's if you guys ever play Gran Turismo or Forza, which I play it to death. You can customize your ride. I mean, you can make it stiffer, softer. You could change the compression, the rebound, and that's what you could do with this car. I mean, it's groundbreaking. Like, it's literally the best kept secret for magnetic ride. I know that there's a few people out there. You know, I go to Sebring and Daytona and other track events, and the car is definitely where I want it. I mean, if you're on the fence about like suspension tuning, what I've done so far is I have the H&R springs and I have the DSC, and with that combination, if you know how to tune a car, I mean, I don't think it needs anything else, to be honest with you. I mean, if you want to do extra, if it's your car, if you're like, hey, the car rides too stiff, I want to soften it, or if you want to go the other direction like I did, like the car was just way too mushy or whatever, and especially with the springs, most lowering springs are progressive where the stock is linear. So basically every lowering spring you get is basically going to soften the car or the initial ride. They're supposed to be like, hey, it's supposed to ride better in stock, but it's super rare. I've had like 20 cars I've lowered, and like, man, every single one of them seems to be a disappointment. I mean, just the way, you know, the number one complaint when spring manufacturers like make springs is like, hey, the car rides too rough or whatever. Well, you lower the car, I mean, you have to stiffen it to keep it from bottoming out. So that's one of the things, but I can understand. I can understand the battle. So thank God there's controllers out there for people like me or whatever. Love it, man. Love it. Any questions, just let me know. Like I said, it's the DSC suspension controller. They do offer it for like the GT350, a lot of Porsche models, the Viper, anything with like magnetic ride. Even Ferrari should have them down the road. It's just I don't think they get their hands on them that often. But I'll give you like a quick glimpse of the controller and where it is. I don't want to take it out per se. It's in the back of the trunk. So you just lift up the mat. Now this one's a 2SS1LE. So what you're looking at on top is the amplifier. So underneath where it says Camaro, that is a DSC controller, and it fits right there where the factory controller used to reside. Let me pull out the factory controller. So this is a GM factory controller. Pretty much the same plugins. And I'll tell you, these things get piping hot. I mean, super hot, especially underneath the amplifier. If you have like a 1SS, you don't really have to worry about it because you don't have the amplifier back there. But at 2SS, they get stupid hot or whatever. Anyway, let me know, man. I'm going to do a follow-up probably here in a couple weeks after I have a little more time with it, but I've played with it like endlessly for like the last few days. Like I said, I customize it to where I want it. It may be too stiff for some of you guys, but I still have my touring mode, the Camry mode, and if you want every mode to be soft, then you can do that as well, whatever. If you want it to be GTR Nismo stiff or ZL1 1LE stiff, man, it's pretty much there. You can make it stiff or as soft as you want to or whatever with the flick of a button at some point. All right, let me know if you have any questions.